Hello friends, I hope you're having a good week. It's almost Valentine's Day, and in my household that means it is almost Picnic at Hanging Rock Day. I've got here my own candle and a little candlestick, which is making me look very peculiar. I'm trying to feel Victorian and kind of Gothic. I'm sitting in my little poetry corner in my stairway that I decked out last summer. And every Valentine's Day I try to watch Picnic at Hanging Rock. If you don't know what Picnic at Hanging Rock is, and many of you maybe do, it is a book and a feature film that was written by an Australian author called Joan Lindsay, and it's a mysterious story about some girls who go on a picnic on St. Valentine's Day. I think, is it maybe in 1900? I can't remember the exact year, which is dreadful because I love this film so much. And some of them disappear during the picnic and they are never found again. And it's incredibly beautiful, this film. Every frame of it is absolutely stunning, beautifully thought out and executed. And the whole atmosphere is so eerie and beautiful. I would say that Picnic at Hanging Rock is a film which it has sort of molded my taste and molded some of my ideas of what's beautiful. Interestingly enough, I think the first time it was shown on TV was kind of like maybe the mid-80s in the UK, and it was shown on Channel 4, and I think that the trailer was put on television, and I just thought the trailer looked enchanting. It looked absolutely amazing, and I'm sorry, I'm just not happy with my fringe. Okay, and we videotaped it. But I also found that my father had bought a copy of the paperback book, Picnic at Hanging Rock. It was in amongst all his books. And he died in, I think it was 1982. So I don't think the film had been shown on British television then, but he must have liked the book. So that's interesting. It's something that we had in common. So I don't want to spend this whole film in the dark, but this kind of lighting and this kind of atmosphere, and if all my poetry books here, it is kind of got a Picnic at Hanging Rock vibe. And so in this video, I want to show you a little bit of why I like Picnic at Hanging Rock. And I'm going to bake some Victorian themed cake. And show you some of my possessions and why I think I bought them because of Picnic at Hanging Rock. It's an amazing book, an amazing story. People are so obsessed with Picnic at Hanging Rock, people like me, that the director of the film, Peter Weir, apparently he eventually just refused to discuss Picnic at Hanging Rock with any fans or anyone that tried to ask him about it. He was so fed up of trying to kind of discuss with them the possibilities of what had happened to the girls. In the world we live in, we're so accustomed to being given an answer, like on Google, you can just get an answer to any question you want. People, even, 30 years ago, they simply couldn't accept that the girls disappeared and we don't know what happened to them. Or did we? Do we actually know what happened to them? Because the film did not reveal it, and indeed the original book did not reveal it. But I will talk about that more, I think, tomorrow. Goodness, I do not like my fringe in this film, but I'm afraid, this has been a very busy week for me. I've been staving off a bad cold by taking lots of Panadol and water with echinacea. I've been trying both sides of the equation, and I've just about held off the cold, and I've gone to bed very early, but you know that feeling where you feel like I could easily have got a very bad cold this week. I'm just tired. Today was a lot warmer. I think the seasons are changing, but it was still very cold in the morning. It was cold this evening. And, as people have said on my chat comments of these films, it's a bit of a slog, January and February. And by the way, thank you for clicking on this video. If you're new, my name is Kate. I'm Kate Sanderson. I am an actress. I often appear in indie horror movies, and I love all things Victorian. I moved to my new house in Essex about a year ago, and I'm trying to do it up. So I will show you more of my house tomorrow, talk to you about some of my Picnic at Hanging Rock things and some of my opinions about it. And I will urge you, if you've never done it, to watch Picnic at Hanging Rock, either on Valentine's Day or any time, but it is set on Valentine's Day, and it is an absolute Gothic masterpiece of a movie, and that's what I want to talk about in this video. So good night for now, and I shall see you in the morning, and we will have a picnic at Hanging Rock experience. Good morning, friends. I got some ingredients for baking my cakes. Then I found out from Mary Berry's book that you have to have the butter really soft, so it's now softening up. So there we go. Oh, Cookie's just he's got jealous of the cookie. He's got jealous of my cookbook and knocked it down. Cookie, you really are dreadful. Oh, honestly. It's one of those days. Cookie, this is not very picnic at Hanging Rock. Good morning, friends. It's nice to see you again. Yeah, I just think I will have put in that clip about my trying to soften the butter and Cookie really being a bit of a brat. I think Cookie knows that I'm not very well and we're in a little bit of a mess, and I think it's making him stressed and he's kind of behaving a bit naughty because he doesn't usually drag things down like that. But you know how when you're a child and your mum's not well, you can actually end up behaving quite badly because you're frightened and you don't like your mum being unwell. I think that's what Cookie's doing. Okay, here's my first piece of advice if you want to have a sort of picnic at Hanging Rock day. Arrange your picnic at Hanging Rock stuff the day before, because I'm a very picnic at Hanging Rock person. It's taken me all morning to sort of run around and get things put out and assembled, and I still have other things I would have loved to show you and I can't find them. But still, we're here, we're doing it, despite the fact I'm not feeling very well. I really love this movie, and later on I will be watching it, and I will put a few clips of it on the screen. You may know the movie already, but if you don't, I hope you enjoy it. And now let me turn around and show you some of the things that I have connected with Picnic at Hanging Rock. Okay, first of all, this is the copy of the book Picnic at Hanging Rock that I think my dad had. He had bought this and it was in amongst his books in our house when I found it, after he died. And if I try and close in, it's a very, you may now remember it, this lady, Anne Louise Lambert, she plays the role of Miranda, and she's very, very beautiful. And they say she's like a Botticelli angel. So yeah, she's the star. And whenever you see a clip of Picnic at Hanging Rock anywhere, she tends to be sort of front and center because she's really stunning. And then here, if I pan across here, here is the whole box set of Picnic at Hanging Rock. At least it's one of them. There's another one by Criterion Publishing, which is a Blu-ray, and I don't actually have a Blu-ray picture, but that is another shot of Miranda. And in this one, you get the original DVD of Picnic at Hanging Rock, and then the new director's cut, which is shorter, and then you get a box of bonus features. If I open it up, well, maybe it's difficult to open it up. Oh, here we are. Look. Yes. So here's Miranda lying asleep on the rock, and there's like a brown snake beside her. So I suppose it gives you an idea that the snake means danger. And this, of course, is when they're on Hanging Rock itself. And here is a little shot of the picnic. This is the Valentine's Day picnic before the girls go off, and some of them never return because they go up the rock. And this is the last time that they're with their friends and they're all together. And it's really beautiful. I mean, the shooting of it is absolutely beautiful. This picture does not do it justice. Okay. So that, my sister bought me this box set a number of years ago, and it's something I really treasure. And then here's a little rose vase that I've got. If you know me and you know my photos and stuff, you might have seen it before. There's a lot of little sort of rose statuettes in Picnic at Hanging Rock. It's the swan. It's not rose statuettes, swan statuettes. I think the character of Miranda is kind of compared to a swan as well. And there are little swan sort of figurines and things in the girls' bedrooms and in, I think, the home of the Colonel where Irma goes to stay. So swans are a thing, and I love to have a couple of roses or even just one rose in this little swan vase. And I'm always looking for more swan vase things, but so far I've actually only got one, which, given all my thrifting, is quite strange. Okay, now let me pick something up. Oops, try and keep my hand is not looking very nice there. Okay, this is a little Victorian mug, and I think it says on it, a gift from Kilcreggan. It's very kind of faded now, and the bizarre thing is I bought this when I used to live in Scotland. It was in an antique shop. But the strange thing is I've actually been to Kilcreggan. It's a little hamlet along the coast road from Helensburgh. If you know Scotland at all, you might know Helensburgh. But this is very Victoriana, very much Hanging Rock style. And I really love this little mug, though I never use it to drink out of, though maybe I should one day, because I don't think it's cracked or anything. I think I could have some tea in it. Okay, and I'll move on to my next thing. What's in there? It's like a little perfume I've got in there. That's, oh my goodness, look, it's a Kylie Minogue perfume. That is so bizarre because she's obviously also an Australian. I think it's called Showgirl. Oh, that's a long time ago. My friend gave me that. Okay. Hello, Kylie. All right, now here is a book of Mrs. Hemans' poetry. I had heard of Mrs. Hemans before I saw Picnic at Hanging Rock, I think, though I was very young when I first saw it. And she was a Victorian lady poetess. And ironically, she's mentioned in the movie because one of the girls called Sarah, she's told to memorize a Mrs. Hemans poem, and she doesn't like the Mrs. Hemans poem. I think, is it The Boy Stood on the Burning Deck or something? Anyway, I actually, funnily enough, when I saw this in a bookshop one day, I was so happy and I bought it because this font and stuff, it is so Hanging Rock. I mean, it's just, this could have been in the movie, this book. And I actually like Mrs. Hemans' poetry, and I've recorded many Mrs. Hemans poems for my YouTube channel. And one day I would like to do them all. And then one day Cookie got so jealous of this book, he jerked it off the bedside table, and he left a claw mark in it there. I was very, very annoyed. And I think he knew not to do that again. He was being a bit bratty, like he was this morning. But he normally is very well behaved. He's not normally a naughty pussycat. Anyway, so that's my Mrs. Hemans poetry book, which is again very picnic. And then here is like an old cigar box, which I've decoupaged with a lute and some flowers. And this kind of scrap, there's a lot of these sort of Victorian scraps in Picnic at Hanging Rock. They have them in scrapbooks and decorating things like screens, I think. And I just use this to keep my matches. Like I love to light candles in the evening, so that is my match box. And yeah, I did the top gold and I did the bottom a kind of peach. I don't like cigarettes or cigars or smoking, so I was very pleased to cover up the cigar motif and make this into a matchbox. So here is something else. I move this, make a little space. It's just an old bowl of just flower heads. They're slightly golden in colour, and a lot of the dried flowers in Picnic are sort of golden in colour. So I think my mother bought these flower heads and I've still got them. So they're not Australian or anything, but they're kind of in the theme. If you wanted to get picnicky things, this kind of thing is very good. And then this, I think, is an old Oriental bowl, and obviously that would be fine for Picnic at Hanging Rock because the Victorians loved that sort of antique as well. And then here is, it's actually quite, I think it's more like a 60s or 70s jug vase that I bought a while ago when I moved to here. Sorry for my hand there. And I've just put in some roses, which are good for Valentine's Day and for picnic. And also there's this kind of slightly exotic looking bit of greenery in the background, which to me is not very British. But because Picnic is in Australia and the light is so dazzling, although it's all Victoriana and sort of dark and gloomy, there's also this wonderful burst of light and then the kind of slightly tropical flowers. In fact, not slightly, tropical flowers. So that was just a happy accident. I got those in Aldi today or something. And then here is just a bag of lavender. And I just chose fabric that was, again, quite Victorian looking. And yeah, I think Miranda or Irma wouldn't mind having this. It says in the garden, whatever. And then finally, I've got here just an old candle and a candlestick. I directed a couple of Magic Lantern short films a few years ago, set in the Victorian era, and we used these. One of these, this candle holder thing was in those short films, and I'm, although it was in Victorian in nature, I wonder if I was slightly wanting to do those short films because of Picnic at Hanging Rock, and it really kind of encouraged me. So I'll just try and pull back over these things. I mean, I have other things that would also have been good, but maybe next year if I do this again, I can show you those other things. And then finally here, I have a book about Botticelli, some small colour plates. And one of the comments in the film, one of the famous quotes is that Miranda is, she's like a Botticelli angel. So if you have any Botticelli pictures, like, is this... yes, here is a Botticelli angel. Let me try and close in on it. And yes, if you that's quite a severe looking angel, but yeah, if you have some Botticelli books, those are also very picnic. Let me go over here. Here I have some really big art books. That's a big version of Botticelli's Primavera. So yeah, it's interesting to think that in the Victorian times, they would have seen a printer like this, and we can still see it now. And yeah, it's part of my Picnic at Hanging Rock world. Okay. I'm really glad to be here doing this today, despite the fact I'm not feeling brilliant. I'm grateful because I feel my cold has not tipped over into being a really bad cold. I've got a little bit of a stuffy feeling, but it's okay. And you know, this time last year, I was in such chaos in my house, I couldn't even have found and arranged all these things to show you. Neither would I probably have even found my DVD set of Picnic at Hanging Rock, unless it was on TV. I couldn't have watched it. So I need to remind myself that this year I've actually come quite a long way, and I would love to have on like a really beautiful Victorian nightgown to watch Picnic, though I've not had one for a long time. As a teenager I had a really nice Victorian style nightgown, but it didn't last for eternal times. So maybe for next year I'll try and get a lovely lace trimmed nightgown somewhere. And as I say, I have other objects I'd love to show you that are also, whenever I saw them like in a charity shop or an antique shop, I thought, oh yeah, that would have been in Picnic. I love that. So there you are. That's it. I think now I'm going to go and bake my cakes. Now I'm going to spare you the process of me just baking the sponge cakes, but maybe I will show you me decorating them. I had ordered what I thought were some sugar roses on Amazon. They looked, and that's what I'm sure that's what the description said. When they arrived, they were actually little sort of just artificial silk rose heads, which I think you could put on a big cake to decorate it, and maybe that was the point. That it's for decorating a large cake, but I was just going to make some little sponge cakes. At the picnic, they have this really beautiful Victorian cake. I might try and take a little film of it when it's on television later. It's really, really gorgeous. So I got some little decorations, but they're nothing like what I would have kind of wanted. I wanted like little sugar roses. I don't have them. It's fine. So I will now go and bake the cakes. Hopefully the butter has softened now. Beg your pardon. I just had some curry for lunch, because you know how they say feed a cold and starve a fever. I tried to really have quite a hearty lunch to make feel better. So yeah, I'll go now and bake my sponge cakes, and then when they are ready to be iced, I'll maybe show you how I ice them and how they look. And then, but when it gets dark later on, I will sit down with you and I will put on Picnic. And of course it would be against copyright to show it all, and it's over an hour long. But I will put on some little snippets of it, and then I'll afterwards speak to you. And there's just one more thing to talk about after the movie. Okay. Here's just a random thing I recommend if you have a cold, guys. Just have some Greek yogurt with brown sugar sprinkled on it. I'm sure the Greek yogurt is still good for you, even if you have sugar with it, and it's so refreshing. So yeah, that's something I recommend if you have a cold. Just Greek yogurt and some brown sugar on top. Cookie has calmed down. He's feeling a bit happier now. I think we're both feeling better. And I'm going to go and do my baking. Okay. Well, friends, here's the recipe that I've copied out. The Mary Berry recipe. I copied it from my phone. And then here's some little decorations I'm going to try and put on the cakes. I ended up buying some baking powder, but I didn't actually need it. I got vanilla essence, and yeah, there's some of my little fairies from Fairy Feast Day. And then this was on the flour packet. It's a recipe for cupcakes. My mum always used to say that the recipes that flour and baking companies put on their products are usually very good, because they know their products very well. She sometimes would send away to companies like flour companies and ask for their recommended little kind of pamphlet recipe book. I think I've got some of those somewhere, because she said they're always very, very good, because they know precisely what proportions you need. So there you go. The cakes are almost ready, so I'll just beat up some icing, and I'll try and decorate my cakes as prettily as I can. for Picnic at Hanging Rock. They're looking very nice. And let's see, I've cut out that recipe now, and I've seen there's another one on the back of the icing sugar packet, but we're quite a long way from using up the icing sugar, so I've got some in there to make some icing. And amazingly, and another amazing turn of events, I did find my wire cooling rack, which was with all my other baking stuff. That's the first time I've actually managed in this house in a whole year to cool something on the cooling rack, and it was just where it should have been. So make of that what you will. I'm going to let these cool down and then I will ice them, and by that time it will be getting a bit darker, and then we can watch Picnic at Hanging Rock. Well, yeah, I will, and you can watch a little of it. If you know my channel, you may know that I have a shelf up here dedicated to Aphrodite, because Valentine's Day is coming up, and I really quite liked it. I mean, my kitchen sink is kind of, it's not very pretty, but you know, I like this shelf, and I'm going to keep it up, I think, till the end of February, and then I'll change it round. And maybe I'll try and show you later on tonight as well, because when it's dark I can light my little lanterns and it looks a little more impressive. But I have enjoyed my Aphrodite shelf. I think now I will try and ice some of these cakes. They're more or less cool now, I feel. I've made a little bit of icing. I think I might have to add some more water to it. And I will try and I'll try and get on with those. Okay. Okay, now here are some of them. I don't think I'm very good at making icing. I'll show you the best ones and I'll turn round. Well, friends, these are my best Picnic at Hanging Rock fairy cakes that I've made, and I've put in amongst them the silk flowers that I ordered from Amazon that I thought were cake decorations. You can see they don't go at all. But this is a nice little plate. It's got little bows on the side. I think it's more like 1930s than Victorian, but I think it will do. And as I may have said to you, there's a scene in the picnic where they cut open this beautiful Valentine's Day cake with lovely sugar roses on it. I'll try and take a little clip of that. And so that's why I want to have some tea and cake with my Picnic at Hanging Rock. So it's not dark yet, but I will try and tidy myself up a bit and get ready. I think when it's dark, that's when I will watch the movie. And it's been a really... I have to say today I've been tired. It's been more rock than picnic, but these cakes look nice. And yeah, this is all good. Okay, well, friends, here we are. I've got Picnic at Hanging Rock on. It's almost dark, and I think it's time to start watching. And so I've got my roses and my swan and my funny little cakes that I've made. I decided that I would try and use this little cup for the very first time ever. Never drunk tea out of this before, but it is a Victorian cup, and I thought, you know, it will be a fitting time to use it. So I will probably switch off the lights now and watch the movie, and I'll try and film some little bits. And at the end I will speak to you about one last thing.
And more temperate. Rough winds to shake the darling parts of May, and summer's lease has all too short a day. Aren't you hungry? Then you best go straight to bed.
Kindly tell Miss Sarah not to put her light out until I've had a word with her.
Yes, Mum.
Hello, I'm sorry I've got into my glasses now. My eyes got a bit sore. I've just finished watching Picnic at Hanging Rock, and it was amazing. I always love it. Sometimes I watch the director's cut, but I usually watch the original one because that's the one that I know best. So anyway, as I mentioned to you, and you may know if you know the movie, it's all about the mystery of what happened to the girls. And it seemed like what I understood for many years was that the whole point of the film is that you don't have a neat answer. You're not told what happened. And it's quite difficult. Of course, when someone dies mysteriously or whatever, it's terrible. But if you know what happened to that person, the person who's died, then even if it was bad, you can give them a funeral. There's a kind of a finality. But the thing about these girls who disappeared and their teacher, because they're never found, you always it's worse. It is a worse pain for someone that loses someone when they never know what happened to them. And so that's, I guess, why it's such an amazing film. Anyway, I thought for many years I had to just be content to not know what happened. But actually, that wasn't the end of the story. The lady who wrote the book originally put in an 18th chapter in which she did reveal what happened to the girls and their teacher. But the publishers felt that it was better to remove that last chapter and to keep it as a mystery. And she did that. And no one knew what the end was except her publishers and her. And then after Picnic at Hanging Rock came out as a movie and also as a book, it was so successful, people kept harassing this lady, Joan Lindsay, to try and find out what happened to the girls. And she was quite an old lady by that time, and she really found it she couldn't believe how determined people were to find out what happened, because, she said, well, that's the book, you have to accept it. But towards the end of her life, she decided that the 18th chapter would be published, but she waited for it to come out until she wanted it to be brought out after her death. And she did, and it's called The Secret of Hanging Rock. And for years I'd heard about this book. If you can imagine, before there was like eBay and Amazon, it was very difficult to get a certain book you wanted. I would sometimes go to like Waterstones or Dillon's and ask if they could do a book search. That's all you could do, is you could ask for a book search for an unusual book. And all they would offer me is like the Picnic at Hanging Rock. No one seemed to know about Secret of Hanging Rock, but I had heard about it and I knew it existed. And then finally, perhaps it was when indeed the internet became a thing, I was able to order it. And when it arrived, I just couldn't believe it. But that's the book, The Secret of Hanging Rock. Let me turn around the camera and show you. Yes, that's it. That is the final chapter. And it also has some commentaries by different Australian writers and thinkers. And if you don't want to know what the secret is, then please switch this off now. I don't want to spoil it for you. I can only tell you that when I got this, I bet I was one of the first people in the UK to get this. And it was so amazing. I just couldn't believe it. But the secret of Hanging Rock seems to have been that the two girls and their teacher went into a different dimension. It was as if a hole opened up in the atmosphere, and the teacher went through the hole, having first shifted into a different creature's body. She was some alien or different creature than a human being, and then the two girls went down into a hole in the earth, and then a big boulder comes down on top of the hole, and then Irma, she tries to pull back the boulder, and that's how she damages her hands, and they get all cut and scraped, but the boulder's too big, she can't pull it back. And there's many opinions as to why did the two girls and the teacher go through and not Irma? And one of the commentators suggests that Irma was not Australian, she was European, and that the force, whatever it was on Hanging Rock, didn't want her. But I mean, it's impossible to know, but it was fascinating to finally read that chapter, and apparently it can also mean like alien abduction, that they went into a different dimension, and it was all very sci-fi, which didn't go with the whole Victoriana theme of the movie. I guess now they could make it with AI, but in the time they just felt like it would be impossible to film. I mean, probably someone has made it with AI, but I've not seen it. I limited myself to 2 cakes. I was still very naughty. So that was The Secret of Hanging Rock, and I can't tell you what it meant to me to finally read this book when it came. Anyway, let me turn around again. Well, friends, I think that will be the end of this week's film. I'm sorry it's a little bit weird. I think if I talk about Picnic at Hanging Rock again, I'll probably have some more things to say. it's a film with many mysteries. I mean, the actors in it, some of them died very young, and one of them has not died. The girl who played Sarah seems to have disappeared from view. It's as if she gave up acting and decided to withdraw from life. She never appears at autograph signings or anything like that, and no one knows what happened to her. And I must say, her name's Margaret Nelson, I think. She's a superb actor. Margaret, I really wish you would come and meet your fans and share your experiences a bit. But I guess you want to be private. So until next year, that is the end of Hanging Rock Day. And I urge you to watch Picnic at Hanging Rock and to really enjoy it all. And I will see you in my next vlog. Oh, it's so pretty. There is no movie like this in the world, sincerely.